operator. In addition, in many recent years, the California Energy Commission has forecast summer blackouts because the state's supply of electricity may be unable to meet demand. So we continue to have an electricity supply problem in California that could be assisted by the residential use of renewable resources such as wind turbines. In a broader sense, prices for fossil fuel have increased markedly in the last few years. The price of crude oil, for example, has gone up 95% in the last year. The price of natural gas, which is used extensively in California for the generation of electricity, has risen 36% over the last year. For both these fossil fuels, supplies are getting tight, and restricted supplies are anticipated in the years ahead. It appears as though the world's production of oil has peaked in the year 2005, and the world's total production of natural gas is expected to peak soon thereafter. For many reasons, including reduced dependence on foreign energy sources, considerably cleaner air, reduced pollution due to oil spills, it's time that we all move to renewable energy, such as wind turbines. Wind power has been encouraged by the state of California. The state has established a buyback program to financially encourage citizens such as me to invest in systems such as the one I have proposed. We need many people to be installing and using renewable power, notably wind power. If you've been following the most recent campaign to revitalize America's energy situation, Texas oil man Boone T. Pickens is making wind energy a central focus point of his plan to end America's addiction to foreign oil. Likewise, Al Gore is proposing that America generate all of its electricity from non-carbon producing, you could read that as non-fossil fuel sources, in 10 years. Wind technology is a technology whose time has come. My vision for the use of this wind tower at this particular site, I believe, is a net benefit to the local community. 10 properties, including that of Ms. Robson, who just spoke, share a common well. An extended outage to the electric supply would mean that this small Mendocino sub-community has no water. An extended outage often occurs during the winter on the coast due to trees falling on power lines. This type of an electricity outage could also take place due to more remote events, such as shortages in the supply of natural gas used to generate electricity. The local community will then be unable to pump water into a large storage holding tank. While the holding tank will be able to supply this community for a limited period of time, perhaps a week or two, if the power is off, at some point the tap will run dry. I am proposing to use this wind turbine as a backup power source of electricity for events such as these, so that the well pump can keep filling the holding tank, and which in turn uses gravity flow to supply the community residents. I also seek to use the electricity generated by the wind turbine to run a plug-in hybrid car that gets the equivalent of over 100 miles per gallon. I'm very concerned about the environment personally. For example, I do not use any pesticides on my property. I'm also very concerned about bats and birds. I've paid for an independent environmental assessment of the site by WRA Associates of San Rafael, California. This assessment indicates there will be no significant danger to bats or birds, with the exception of the marbled murrelet that we will be discussing subsequently. The statistical danger to birds posed by residential wind turbines is considerably less than that from many other sources, including flying into windows, predation by cats, electrocution by power lines, and death by pesticides. One study indicates that bird deaths caused by wind turbines are less than 1% of total bird deaths. References to a variety of studies supporting this opinion were previously indicated in the paperwork that I submitted as part of the coastal development permit process. I've also paid my consultant, Amy Wynn, who sits to my left, to have a large number of communications with various government agencies, such as the California Department of Fish and Game and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Based on these conversations, the only possible serious threat to bats and birds that has surfaced relates to the marbled murrelet. In response to concerns about that bird, I agreed to employ a timer on the wind turbine during the period of March 25th to September 25th each year, so that the turbines are not rotating around sunset and sunrise, the times when this type of bird might perhaps be flying from the ocean to old growth trees where it nests and back again. The fact that the tower is only 40 feet high makes this problem unlikely, but I will do it just to be on the safe side. The technology to turn the turbine on and off automatically and to resynchronize the timer based on the actual light detected at different times of year is available and easily integrated into the proposed wind turbine system. I've spoken with technical consultants at Gaia Energy Systems in Ukiah, and they see no problem in meeting this requirement from a technology perspective. Aside from this, Ms. Robson brings up a wide variety of objections, all of which have been extensively answered in the paperwork that I've previously submitted for this appeal. I would be pleased to go into any of these if you believe it is necessary. I believe the matters she raises, such as consistency with the Mendocino Town Plan, are not relevant to this permit, and I see them as delaying tactics. If the California citizenry is going to rapidly move to renewable energy, people will need to move a whole lot faster than I have been able to with this application for a wind turbine. I am concerned that the county and state bureaucracy and paperwork and regulations and other impediments will interfere with the widespread transition to sustainable energy that we must all be working on right now. It is this same concern about delays that caused State Assembly Bill 1207 to be passed in February 2001. Reflecting that concern, Section 65892.13 of the California Government Code states that, quote, California has a shortage of reliable electricity, unquote, and the governor has accordingly proclaimed a state of emergency. This has led the California government to issue executive orders to expedite and shorten the processing of applications for new power plants and to establish an emergency siting process for renewable power plants. The Act specifically identifies wind energy as abundant, renewable, non-polluting, and it urges adoption